Welcome to this edition of What the Hell Just Happened? The vlog that never makes a claim to journalistic bona fides, but instead offers semi-informed opinions, like Sean Hannity without the hair product. I'm your host, Martin Ganapola. In the year 2000, the presidential election between Governor George W. Bush of Texas and then current Vice President Al Gore of Tennessee was in a dead heat. The Electoral College was evenly divided between the two candidates. Only the Florida County of Miami-Dade remained too close to call, and this was the linchpin that would decide the state and thus the election. But there'd been some kind of voting machine glitch in that county, which had caused the punch-out pieces on the voting cards called chads to not completely fall out. The County Democratic Canvassing Board, thinking that this situation might favor Gore, ordered a legal recount, and each card had to be examined and compared by nonpartisan canvassers one at a time, and they determined the outcome. Because there were only around 10,000 of these ballot cards under scrutiny, the election board moved the counting process to a smaller room closer to the ballot scanning equipment to speed up that process. This gave Roger Stone, the Bush campaign's chief of dirty tricks, an opening. He immediately organized a fake protest of business-suited Republican operatives and conservative lawyers to storm the recount room. It became known as the Brooks Brothers Riot. These guys swarmed the room, pounding on the doors, shouting, "Shut it down, stop the count." Within a couple of hours, the election board, fearing for the safety of the canvassers, suspended the recount. This decision tossed the ball to the governor of Florida, George's little brother, Jeb. He called an audible to the Florida Secretary of State, who handed the victory to George. With the help of then lawyer Amy Coney Barrett, this was then litigated all the way up to the Supreme Court, ultimately deciding in favor of Bush. Gore actually won the popular vote by more than 500,000, but Florida and the Electoral College votes went to Bush. The difference between the two candidates in Miami-Dade was 537 votes, or 0.0009% nationally. The Brooks Brothers riot was a success for Roger Stone, and as it turned out, a rehearsal for a much bigger operation that came in 2021, the DC insurrection. Day by day, we're learning how deep and wide this attempted coup really was. From the strong-arm phone call to the Georgia Secretary of State, from a then sitting president to the so-called Green Bay sweep with fake electors, which culminated in the deadly riot of January 6th. These were all crimes committed in plain sight. Convicted felon Roger Stone and scum patriot convicted felon Steve Bannon were both holed up at the Willard Hotel, a short walk from the White House, on January 6th. Several Republican legislators wore bulletproof vests into the Capitol that day. It's almost as if they knew some kind of violence might occur. I wonder why. The scheme at its core was the same as the Brooks Brothers riot, but bigger, with more camo, ammo, and less college education. You ever wonder why the disgraced buffoon of an ex-president did and said nothing for 7 hours while the rioters beat the shit out of the cops? I'll tell you why. He was waiting for the legislators and Vice President Pence to suspend a peaceful transfer of power because they felt threatened, just like on that day in Miami 21 years earlier. But Congress had a greater sense of duty on January 6th, which superseded even their own well-being when they certified the Electoral College votes. Now, because Joe Biden won with a 7 million vote margin, this election couldn't be challenged by any legitimate source, not even Ginny Thomas, the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. I said legitimate source. Don't get me started here. Now, what about the midterms this year and the presidential election of 2024? How close will they be? I'm not a big conspiracy guy, but what if January 6, 2021 was just another dry run to prepare for 2024? Right now, Republicans are passing laws in state after state, making it harder to vote. They're gerrymandering and redistricting to favor Republican majority districts. The idea of the big lie that the last election was stolen continues to smolder from the burnout embers of the diseased minds QAnon morons and other cowardly dipshits in Congress and the Republican electorate at large, all of whom should know better. If the vote is close because of all these anti-voting laws, maybe this time the Green Bay sweep will work. Maybe bigger, more violent, and more deadly riots will occur in many cities simultaneously. You have a choice in the coming elections that may actually represent the last choice you'll be given in this country, and that is whether to vote or not to vote. But here's the thing. Your vote's the only way that you'll have a stake in controlling your own future. Once you give that right away, all the other rights you enjoy, like a woman's right to choose an abortion wherever she may live, they all fall away one at a time. And this is part of the game plan that's now being enacted all over the world today. The super wealthy and powerful of this country and places like Russia are hoping that you don't vote. In fact, they're counting on it. But by then, it'll be too late. So do yourself a service, register and vote, and spread the word to others. The democracy you save may be your own. Hey, thanks for watching this edition of What the Hell Just Happened. With any luck, we'll see you again. Bye for now.